Hey, what's up, guys? So here's what we got going today. We ran on down to Home Depot and got us some PVC. We're gonna make us some new rod holders for the surf, or some sand spikes for the surf for our fishing rods. Our old ones are just worn out. It's time for some new ones, and we're looking to do it on the cheap. So I got two 10-foot sections of Schedule 40, which is important, 1.5 inch PVC pipe. I got two of those, and I'm gonna try to make 5 rod holders out of it, 5 sand spikes out of it. We're gonna do 2 5-foot sand spikes, so basically take one of those and cut it in half. We're gonna do it at an angle, and then out of the other piece, we're gonna get 3 sand spikes out of it. We'll get us 5 total out of the deal, and we just paid $12.78 for each 10-foot section, so for about 28 bucks, and a little bit of customization, a little DIY, we're gonna hopefully have us 5 really new sand spikes be freshened up and ready for the season. It's spring, summer's right around the corner, surf fishing's heating up in my area, and I plan on getting out there a lot, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. What I can tell you for sure is when you see the thickness of this Schedule 40 1.5 inch, and you compare it to anything you're going to buy in the store as far as the PVC ones, the difference is not even comparable. Let's see if we can cut these jokers up, see what we can get going. All right, guys, we're in the shop getting ready to get started. Here's some of the stuff we're going to be using. You can see there we got a few screws, a couple different drills. You don't necessarily need those. You could use a handsaw instead of the battery powered saw, no big deal. A clamp to hold everything in place, a little bit of sandpaper to finish some stuff off, a couple screws that we'll put into stainless screws that we'll put in to keep the rods from sliding down further than we want them to in the rod holder. And yeah, this should do it. Let's go. So what I'm going to do is measure back 5 feet. We're going to make our bigger sand spikes first. I measured these about 5 feet back because we're going to do 2 sand spikes out of this 10-foot section. And now I'm going to cut an angle, so I'm going to mark it with my marker. So you guys can see what we did there. We measured 5 foot, got our line, and then we just put a straight angle, like a 45, right down there. We're going to cut through that, and that should get us 2 sand spikes. It's that easy. So check that out. That's our angle there. We'll clean all that up. We'll sand those edges, but we just cut that 10-footer in half. This should give us 2 5-foot spikes. This is way better. This is gonna be great. So this is a long one. God, you can't hardly bend these things. We cut our 10-foot section and got 2 5-footers. So now we're gonna take another 10-foot section and we're gonna try to get 3 3.25. We'll add a screw going down, that way the butt of our rod sits down in there and doesn't just go all the way down. We can kind of pick our height, how far you want your rod to sit down in that. Okay, so we're working on our second 10-foot section. This is what we're going to get 3 sand spikes out of. So 40 inches for each one. So we measured 40 inches, marked it, made our angle. That'll get us 2 once we cut this off. Just made a straight line there at another 40 inches. And then the last piece will come down and just trim that angle on that. Let's make our cuts, start finishing this baby up. So what we're going to do now is we've got our 100 grit sandpaper, and we've got, which is pretty rough, and then we've got some really fine stuff here, probably 200, 240, I'm not sure. But we're going to sand down those edges that we cut to make sure everything's really smooth and we don't have any chances of cutting ourselves or damaging the rods or anything like that. So we're just putting the finishing touches on it, just to make sure it's good. So let's do that. Bottom edge, I'm not going to use my 200 on. I'm just going to use the rougher stuff just to knock down all that excess and kind of smooth it out a little bit. That's good. Then we'll come up to the top We got all that buildup down in there. We want to clean that up. We want to make a safe spot for our rods to sit in there without them getting damaged. Yeah, that's really nice. So that's one done. We're just going to do the other 4, and then we'll finish it up with put some screws in there. I'll show you that now. All right, guys, here's what I think I'm going to do. So when I'm surf fishing, I use pretty much all 10-foot rods. I think I might have one 9-footer, but occasionally I'll use a little short guy just for speckled trout or whatnot in the surf, and bluefish just for fun. I'll use a smaller setup, but a lot of them are going to be this length. So what we're trying to figure out now is how far do we want our rod to sit down in the rod holder. And I think I've kind of settled on like a middle ground. I think I'm going to have it sit down about that far, just right up to where that butt is there. So just so I can kind of show you guys, this is about the area. This is about how deep I think I want my 10-foot shark rod to sit down in there, or any of my 10-foot rods. They all have a longer handle. It's about that same length. So this is about where I'd like to sit it. I think that's a good height. I don't want to go, I could go deeper, but I think the reason I'm not going to is it might be kind of a longer, there's a lot of length in there. I'll pull this out and show you, so to pull that out, it might be a little bit awkward. And I think I've got a real deep bite there anyway with what I showed you at 15 inches. So I think I'm going to do 15 inches on all of them, and because they're all pretty much about the same. My little, my little 7-footer, 7.5-footer, it could just rest. It can rest right here. Ain't no big deal. I'm not big game hunting with it or nothing. It's just going to kind of sit in there as a placeholder when I put it there. But what these are really made for is my surf rods, which all the butts are about that same length right there. So I think if I put it at 15 inches, that's in there plenty deep where it's not going to pop out or slide out. It's good and secure. I can get all the benefits, and I think I could still get it out pretty easy. So I'm going to mark the PVC 15 inches down and make a pilot hole, and we'll show you that. So we've got those stainless screws in there at 15 inches each. So we showed you before, we know they're going to sit just where we want them to. We could pick the height. If you want to have them sit a little higher, a little deeper, you just move that screw up and down, just change your pilot hole, no big deal there. But we picked 15, happy with it. We have 2 5-foot sand spikes and 3 40-inch sand spikes for about $26. So you do the math on that. So check out this compared to what you would get from Walmart, any big box store. So that's this one here, big box. And then here's what we got. Let's just look at the edge. So you see the difference in the thickness and the quality of that, and it's probably probably half the cost, probably maybe even a third depending on where you get them. But the quality that you're getting, there's no comparison. I mean, this should be what we're all doing here. And it's minimal work, and it's worth it. If you like to surf fish, come on, man, spend $30, get you 5 good rod holders. You could pick the height, you can make them taller, shorter. I plan on digging those long ones way down in the sand and trying to get some good sharks and stuff. So thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed what you saw here, like and subscribe. Hoping to do a bunch of surf fishing this summer, try to make some time for that. Either way, hope this helped out. Have a good day. Get out there, boys. Fish on.